Hello everybody and welcome back. It is Jeff again coming to you from the Mindcrack server, and I am extremely tired today. Just got off of work. It's going to be one of those weeks where as I do these videos, I'm probably going to be doing them in the mornings when I get home to ensure that they can go out because I'm working night shift and it makes me tired. But I've decided what I want to do today. I want to work on getting an entrance in here, so that I get a cooler way to be able to come into this whole area. I can probably dig this out a little bit. I can't dig it out all the way. I could dig it out a little bit farther. And what I thought would be kind of cool for an entrance, this is like part of the inside as well. I need to get, cleaned up. It's where I broke out into the wall. Excuse me. Oh man, got the hiccups already. What I want to do to make this entrance good is I think I'm going to do it with ice. And to do it with ice, I have a decent amount of ice right here that I can take. And I think if I... Oh my god, this thing is... Wait a minute. Flip switch to refill pit with water. Oh, nice. I was going to say that I don't know exactly how to make this thing get refilled with water. I think I just have to refill it with water, but it looks like Zisto, because Zisto had made this a while ago, not knowing that this was the area that I was building my stuff in, and he asked if it was cool that it stayed here, and I said, yeah, it actually looks kind of cool. I was going to cover it at some point and make it like an ice skating rink up here, kind of cover it with an igloo type of top, but I didn't realize he had even gone through and automated the thing, so that's even cooler. So I'm going to clear out this ice, get all this ice, see how the refilling part works, and then definitely, now knowing this, it's going to be made into an awesome ice rink up here when the ski hill has come along a little bit more. Well, that being the case, let's get this ice and figure out what we are going to discuss today. So actually, this is funny. Last night at work, we were talking about colleges. And some of the guys and girls that I work with are looking into going for some advanced degrees, many of them for CRNA, which is the Certified Registered Nurse Anesthetist. For those who don't know, it's pretty much a nurse that gets in charge of putting you to sleep during surgery and a bunch of other stuff. It's an advanced practice degree. It pays some buku bucks, like lots of money. So lots of people want to go into nurse anesthetist school for money's sake, for one, and for two, they want to be an advanced provider. One of the biggest flaws with it... Oh my goodness. Whoa! Dude, that was so awesome. That is amazing. He literally just has this in some way that it puts out water that starts creating infinite springs. Whoa. I never even thought about something like that. I would never have known that was even possible if this wasn't already here. And look at it, it's already icing over. Dude, this is great. Now I gotta find out how to make packed ice. I'm sure it's not hard. I just have no idea how to make packed ice. Just because I'm sure it can come in handy as well as an aesthetically pleasing look to something. Now, I don't know how exactly I want this to look either. I might kind of do a ice as... Oh, look at you hiding in my cows. You big jerk. Don't hurt my cows. Hey, I hurt my cows. Not you. Stay with me, guys. I thought that was a creeper for a second when I turned around, and I was like, here goes, life is over. It's done. But it was not a creeper. I'm just going to start, actually, by building this thing all the way across. Just like this. And we're going to see how it looks. I've never built anything with ice before, so hopefully it looks pretty cool. I'm really completely unsure how this is going to look when I'm said and done. Either way, we were talking about you know, the CRNA stuff. And a lot of people who go up to the unit that I'm particularly on, there's two reasons at my particular hospital, or three reasons in theory, that people go to the ICU in my hospital. One reason being that they want to learn more, actually like that. That they want to learn more and be an advanced nurse in their like careers, and ICU is where you can go to get advancement because of the fact that you are now like, you know, not just a med-surg nurse anymore. You're now an ICU nurse. You take care of the sick people because you've like earned your way into taking care of the sick people. That's a very small percentage of people, I believe, in my hospital that go to the ICU nowadays. I can't say that, you know, that looks really freaking cool, actually. I can't say that that's always been the case, that it's such a small number of people that do that, because there's a lot of people who have been there for many, many years who have gone into the career field specifically for the point, or gone to the ICUs back in the day because that's what they wanted to do, is they wanted to be ICU nurses, because it was, you know, it's good. You're like I said, you're taking care of the advanced patients, so people like that. So yes, that is definitely a reason that people do it, just not as many anymore. I need to build this out a little bit, I think, in some way, shape, or form. I think I'm going to do something like this. The other reason people go in is because they want to advance their education in school. And many of the people at my facility want to go to CRNA school that I was just talking about. And then you have your third group of people, who are the people like me who want to do it because they want to do trauma and flight nursing. That's a small... Oh, that's the wrong... I was like, oh no, what'd I do? That was the wrong pick. So that's why I did that. Oh, stop it. Get rid of that. Okay, there we go. So it's a smaller group of people who do that at my particular facility. Me being like one of the main people that do that. And other people do exist, but they're just, you know, not as many of us. Most people go because they want to go to CRNA school. It is one of the main ones that they want to go to. Because for a lot of nurse practitioner schools, you don't necessarily need ICU experience. Like, they'll accept the emergency department. So people who are transferring from an emergency department to there really like to do it because it's something that they want. They need the ICU experience for. Many, like I said, nurse practitioner schools will allow emergency department experience. And I apologize if I ramble. I ramble a lot when I do these morning videos because I'm just really tired. But either way, so we were talking about that. Man, I could make a whole room out of ice because I think it looks freaking amazing. So one of the things that a lot of people have to take to go into any of these advanced practice degrees is they always want you to have like chemistry, organic chemistry mainly. A lot of the people that I work with, they're second degree nurses, and many of their first degrees were actually in like biochemistry or something like that, because they did it specifically knowing they wanted to go into some science type medical field. So they got those degrees and then ended up going with second degree nursing. So they've taken organic chemistry before, many of them, but it's expired. So if you, as you get older and you want to advance your education and you realize there's certain programs that you want to go into, you'll find out that many of these programs, unfortunately, require you to have certain classes that you may or may not have already taken. But they always have either a 7 or, if you're lucky, a 10-year maximum that it can be since you've taken the course. Like, let's say if I go back and look at some of the courses I took my freshman year and want them to count for an advanced degree, because let's say they require a general chemistry, though I actually had to retake general chemistry in order to go to nursing school, because Georgetown required that I take general chemistry, and it had to be within 7 years. And I had literally been just over 7 years that my general chemistry was for, and they told me I had to retake general chemistry in order to be accepted to the program. So I had to go through and retake general chemistry. So I did. And many people end up doing that with things like organic chemistry. And they were talking about taking organic chemistry and how, wow, this looks so cool. I can do some other cool designs to it. I just don't know exactly what right now. But I just know I can't do any torches on here. So they took these organic chemistry classes, and they're talking about how they're dreading to take it again because they have to, you know, they hated it the first time around, and now they're going to have to do it again. And it reminded me, and I told them this story, and they were laughing hysterically at this because I coincidentally went to a college. It was an engineering school. My first degree was a computer engineering degree, and I went to an engineering college. And one of the classes that they offered at the engineering college was something called industrial organic chemistry, and it was a different version of organic chemistry. It wasn't your typical organic chem. I don't know why I just came down here. It wasn't your typical organic chemistry class. It was a little bit different. It was extremely hard with certain professors, but with other professors, it was, with another professor in particular, it was one of those very well-known easy classes. And I think I broke all these hoppers. No, I definitely broke this one though. What was supposed to be in this chest? That was supposed to be glass, I think. And my very last semester of college, I happened to realize that this particular professor... Oh, crap. I just broke everything else, didn't I? This professor, I did, was teaching an industrial organic chemistry class, who happens to be the advisor in my fraternity house. He's also, just because of that, he's also very well known for being a slightly easier professor than some of the other professors were. And I took industrial organic chemistry with him, knowing that it would be a very easy class, my very last semester of school, not thinking I was going to have to do anything with it. It was literally just this is an easy class I can take. This is not correct, but if I leave 2 in there, it's not a big deal. Here, we can fix this. There we go. I'll just do that for now and walk away because I'm done. And so I took this class. I had a lot of fun in the class, and I did learn quite a bit in this class, but not to the extent that most people, if they think about organic chemistry, not to that extent of learning. There is no question about that. So no big deal. I didn't plan on doing anything. I didn't plan on going into nursing school at the time either. Before I went to nursing school, I tried to go to med school. That was my initial goal, was I'm going to med school. I'm not doing this so that I can, or I wasn't changing career to be a nurse. I originally wanted to change careers to go to med school. That thing just disappears. So I started taking all these classes that were required for med school. Now, med school requires that you take organic chemistry 1 and 2 before most places will let you be admitted to med school. I called one of the schools that I was thinking about going to, and I had them look over my transcripts and tell me exactly what I was missing. And coincidentally, I was only missing 4 classes in order to go to med school, just for minimum requirements. It doesn't mean I was going to be like accepted and, hey, you're going to med school just because you got these done. It was literally minimally, you are these 4 classes away, and then you can actually apply to med school. On top of taking the MCATs and all that crazy stuff that you need to take, which is some standardized testing that is specifically for med school. Like, there's MCATs for med school, there's LSATs for law school, all these different things. One of the classes being organic chemistry 2. And I was, at the time, I wasn't even thinking about it, and I said, well, what about organic chemistry 1? And she goes, oh no, you did this industrial organic chemistry that you took at your first school. That counts as organic chemistry 1. You are just missing organic chemistry 2. And I was like, huh, I wonder if I can kind of sneak through my minimum requirements. I'll have to like do a lot of learning on the fly and make sure I get myself brushed up on organic chemistry. But if I can just go to a school, find an organic chemistry 2 class that I can take, somehow that they'll let me into an organic chemistry 2 class and see if we can actually fulfill these requirements. So I found a university, because they didn't want me to take organic chemistry. They said there's a couple classes that you can take at community college, but we will not accept organic chemistry from community college. So you have to go take that at a university. So I went and found a university. Coincidentally, it was their university. So it was, I'll even tell you, it was Wayne State University was one of the med schools that I was looking at. Wayne State University also allowed me to get into organic chemistry 2, because they said, look, you have organic chemistry 1. You know, we've equivalated your transcripts, so you can go ahead and take this organic chemistry 2 class. So I was like, sweet, this is going to be difficult, but I'm sure I'm smart enough to figure this thing out, and I can kind of learn organic chemistry 2 on the fly. I went to 2 classes. I had absolutely zero idea what was being talked about. And most of the people that were in organic chemistry 2 were either people who had failed it the previous semester and were in it again because it's that hard of a class, or there were people that just came from organic chemistry 1 taught by like the same guy and wanted to continue on the series. So I'm trying to ask these people some questions about, like, I was made a couple friends with these people, and I'm like, hey, well, you know, what exactly is he talking about with this? And they looked at me like I was absolutely insane. So I went back through like my syllabus and the syllabus from the organic chemistry 1 class. It turns out that they needed to do a better job equivalating these classes, because though the class that I originally took was called Industrial Organic Chemistry, it did not teach any part of organic chemistry. It was specifically made for the manufacturing field, and it taught things in a non-science way, I guess would be the way to put it. It taught them in a completely engineering, but a manufacturing engineering type of way, which is just a whole different way that things are done. So I'm sitting there in organic chemistry 2, so close to being able to be equivalated and considered to go to med school. That was actually one of the stumbling points that I started looking at nursing schools a little bit more heavily, because I was like, I am so far behind the mark, because now I have to go back and take organic chemistry 1 and then take organic chemistry 2 if I even want a shot at going to med school, because there's no way I'm going to do this. So I actually looked at, you know, going into, that's one of the reasons that I looked at going to nursing schools, because it was just something I could do much quicker, because I didn't want to be stuck in the field for that long, still taking all the prereqs, because that would have put me essentially an extra year out, because now I'd wasted an entire semester in an organic chemistry 1 class. Not really the entire semester, because I dropped it, but I could no longer register for the organic chemistry 1 class. I just had to drop the organic chemistry 2, but I had to wait for the next semester to have Orgo 1 start, and then I'd have to wait for a semester after that to do Orgo 2. So ironically, that's one of the reasons I didn't even like pursue going to med school, was because of that. But it was really funny to hear people talking about their organic chemistry experiences at work, and to find out how many people actually have taken a true organic chemistry class throughout their college, and I have not. So anybody who's going into the medical field, if organic chemistry is on the table for you, that's great. Don't be afraid. Don't shy away from it. It's a very, very, very difficult class, from what I'm told. Like I said, I've never taken it. But some people who take it really, what college comes down to is honestly professors. My initial class I took, it was the Principles of Chemistry I took. I barely passed it my freshman year. Part of it was because, you know, I didn't quite know how to study in college yet. I never had to study in high school at all. Like, everything came very easy to me in high school. I just kind of breezed through high school with a very high GPA. I then get to college and realized I have to study. I can't just breeze through this stuff. I actually need to study this stuff to pass. And I didn't know how to do that yet. Excuse me. But I also attribute it to having a professor who, he cared, but he didn't teach in a way that made it easy for me to learn. So when I went back and took chemistry again, I coincidentally had this professor. I will never forget him. He was such an amazing guy. A lot of people actually did not like him. They thought he was too hard of a grader, all this stuff. I've never learned a class that I was so unfamiliar with from the beginning. Like, he talked very, very deeply at the beginning. Like, I think he expected us to know a lot more going into it, because he also teaches this Principles of Chemistry class himself. And this was straight up chemistry 1. And he even suggested that if the first couple lectures were difficult for you, that you should maybe drop the class and go back and take the Principles of Chemistry class first to get a grasp on it, because it's very difficult, which I didn't want to do, because I didn't want to put myself behind. And I was like, I think this class is not like that Orgo 2 class. I think this is enough where I can put a little bit of studying into this, and I'll be able to actually understand what this guy is doing. And I'm so glad I stuck it out, because He was just such a good professor that I had to catch myself up a little bit at the beginning, and once I got myself caught up a little bit, he just took me the rest of the way, because he taught in such a way that was so easy for me to understand. I can't say that everybody would feel the same way. Many people actually said they hated him as a professor because they didn't think he was a good teacher. And it's because everybody does learn at different paces and different methods. And if you find a professor that can teach things to you in a way that makes things easy for you, man, stick with that professor and take them for as many classes as you can if they teach more than one class. I'm not saying to take the professor who's the easy professor. Like, I'll be honest, my anatomy and physiology professor that I had to take was the only one I could possibly take for this anatomy and physiology 2 class, because it was the only one that fit my schedule. He was very well known as the guy you're going to get an A with, because he's that easy of a grader, a tester, etc., that you really didn't have to learn much. I still learned a lot in that class, but I also... It was one of those classes I tried to keep my mouth shut at the beginning, because I came into this anatomy and physiology 2 class from a different anatomy and physiology 1 professor, because it was actually a Saturday class. I had to take a Saturday class. It was the only thing that fit my schedule, and that's why I had to take it. And I was going to be one of those guys who kept my head in the back of the class and kept quiet, because it was a really full class, because, you know, he was known to be such an easy grader. And for some reason, he called me out the first day on something that I was easily able to answer, because it was something I remembered from the previous thing. And so he instantly liked me, and the guy is actually really awesome. He's a doctor. He ended up going back and finishing off he didn't finish his residencies or fellowships, and he ended up going back and finishing off his residencies after this class, and he used me as a reference for it, because I don't know, we just became really close in this class. He was not the greatest professor in the world for anatomy and physiology. You got out of the class what you wanted to get out of the class, essentially. I didn't get that much out of it when I was there, because I just needed to get through the class. However, he was a great resource, and I've contacted him since afterwards to get more help on learning the stuff. That's a lot of what college is. You get out of it what you want to get out of it. There's classes you can take that you will pass no matter what with a very high grade. But you might not learn anything if you don't want to. My suggestion is, it's a time management skill. If you don't think you actually need to learn anything in the class, take the easy class. I'm not going to sit there and tell you, oh, you got to take every class is the good one, that you got to take the hard one. No. If you think it's pointless and you don't think it's going to help you, and it's just something that's like a requirement that they're forcing you to take that actually mixes with nothing else that you're doing, by all means, take the easy class. It's called time management. Learn what you can do with less time and still get done the things that you actually need to do. I'm a firm believer in that. However, I struggled when it came to pathophysiology in nursing school, because I didn't have a good A and P basis. I basically had to relearn anatomy and physiology in my pathophysiology class to pass that class, because of the fact that I really didn't have as good of a grasp as I should have on it. Granted, now, don't worry, I'm a nurse. I have a much better grasp on anatomy and physiology. Granted, there's some things if I went back to in that class, like the Krebs cycle, things like that. I actually love the Krebs cycle. I really enjoy the Krebs cycle. But that's one of those harder concepts in there, and I ended up learning it pretty well afterwards. I don't know. Long story. I'm rambling. College, get out of it what you need to. Like I said, if you don't think you need to get anything out of a class, take the easy one. Some things are just requirements because they're requirements. Otherwise, make sure you get out what you can when you can, because you might not have time to make up for that lack of knowledge later. That's all I'm saying. This is a public service announcement by Jeff. Thanks for listening, everybody, to my early morning rants. Press that like button. Hopefully you liked the video. Press that like button. I will see you guys tomorrow.